Hey everybody, Logan here. Thank you for sticking around with me. Before we get into the video, I'm going to say thank you. I did have to take the last 4 days off because I had surgery. And I just want to say thank you for all you guys who stuck around and all you new subscribers. Since Thursday, well, depending on when you're watching this, I've put up a lot of shorts. So go ahead, go watch those shorts if you haven't already. But thank you so much. Let me stop rambling on. Let's get into the topic of the video. Now, I've been doing a lot of topics, a lot of answering of questions about game collecting lately, because apparently I would call it on a decline. Not the prices, the fun of it. And I'm not the only one. Apparently there's a lot of other videos. Like I said before, it started when I saw RGT85's video, but I've addressed that enough. It's gotten to the point where it's had me think more and more and more about collecting, especially with a lot of the comments I've been receiving. People talking about their collections, what they've done, and how some people still like to collect even though the prices are through the roof. And that boggles my mind. But hey, you got the right to do whatever you want with your money. If you want to spend $500 on a copy of one game, so be it. But I'm here today to introduce, well, if you don't already know, you may or may not, there's still a couple of systems out there. I guess they're retro these days. Yeah, they're about 20 years old now. That you can still collect for on the cheap. Not to be a shot at the console manufacturer of these, which is Xbox. You can still purchase original Xbox and Xbox 360 games for pretty cheap if you want to start building a collection from. You want to just start somewhere. Say you're like, all right, I want to start building, but times are rough. I want to build something for the future. I've only got so much money to work with because we're in a recession. Economy sucks. Hey, is what it is. So, best ones to, I guess, purchase right now would be OG Xbox and Xbox 360. For example, I just grabbed 2 of each. You can get Brute Force. Brute Force. Remember this oldie but a goodie? Wasn't that good. But you can get this for around $8 to $10 these days. Maybe even less depending on condition and whatnot. So, yeah, Brute Force. Next, I'm sure you saw the other one. It was in my hand. Say Morrowind. Morrowind. This is the Game of the Year edition. This goes around about $20, but you can get the base one for less. But this is the one that comes with all the expansions. $20 for one of the greatest games of all time. Yeah, you guys see I'm an Elder Scrolls fan. So of course I was going to pick this one. $20 is a steal. And that's on the high end. There aren't too many games. I think we got Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, which is on the higher end. But there really aren't too many games that are really expensive. Now you can even go the route of Xbox Live digital games. So if you have an Xbox Series X or an Xbox One, Xbox Series S, what have you, there's still plenty of OG Xbox games that are backwards compatible on there as well. Well, if you're doing Series S, they're only digital, but you can play these on your current console. Next, if I go to Xbox 360, we'll get into more. I'm just showing a couple of them. One of the biggest, Halo 3. That's less than $10. You're looking anywhere from 8, 10, maybe even less, again, depending on condition. And next would be Dead or Alive 4, a launch title, but one of the best fighting games on the system, hands down, around the same price, less than $10. So, depending on where you're going, what you're doing, people might even be selling them for less. So, if you want to buy other consoles from that generation, it's going to cost you a bit more. PS2 games, they're in this weird limbo. They're in this weird state of some games are really cheap, other games are really expensive. It's got a lot of those oddball Japanese releases that were just so limited that they become really expensive. GameCube, screw GameCube. Not saying screw GameCube, I'm just saying the prices, even for a game that's on Xbox or PS2, the game can be 2 to 3 times as much just because of how few copies the game has sold on the console. And people are seeking to complete collections of GameCube, and people want to collect and buy, and GameCube prices have just gone through the roof, and it's just ridiculous. So with that being said, if you're looking at buying a collection, or buying for a console, or just buying video games in general, and you don't want to spend too much, the Xbox is definitely a great place to start. Now you can also jump up a little forward from the 360 to the Xbox One. The Xbox One, you can go into GameStop just in general, or into a Walmart or something like that if you want to buy new, and you can get some old games for dirt cheap. So you can build even a newer console collection for a lot less than you think. And those games will all play on your Xbox Series X. So if you want to amass a brand new collection, go with the Xbox One. You're going to spend decent amount, not too much unless you want the fancier new games. Then we're talking about games like if you're getting into, say, some new releases, WWE 2K23, Hogwarts Legacy, what have you. There's all kinds of new games. That's going to cost you a bit more because those, new releases. But this is just for physical collecting, by the way. Digital is a whole nother beast, because there are people that call it digital collecting, but are you really? You're just putting stuff on a hard drive. That's debatable. Again, back to the subject at hand. The only thing is, if you're trying to buy one of these consoles, they're not the cheapest. An original Xbox, as long as you're not getting the special editions or anything like that, you can get them for less than $100. Some as low as $50. Again, all depends on where you're buying them and condition. The problem is, with the original Xbox, it's not really super compatible with modern TVs. You have to buy an adapter, HDMI converter, something like that, or get yourself a CRT. So, but that's if you want to play on original hardware. Again, the consoles aren't that expensive. The controllers are a little bit more expensive because it's hard trying to find a controller that works. A Series S controller, sorry, not a Series S, a controller S that's actually in good condition. The Xbox controllers seem to have this weird issue that after I don't know how many years, you'd get this white film on the joysticks, which is really weird. I've had that before, and I just constantly had to clean it over the years with a, I guess would be a Clorox wipe. So I would clean them down from time to time. I don't know, maybe that contributes to it. I don't know. I just don't know why that exists. So I would constantly clean my controllers anyway. I'm one of those guys, but I suggest that. But there are third-party companies that still make controllers that you can get on the cheap. I've covered them on the channel before a number of years ago for less than $15. So if you're looking for replacement controllers, you can always do that. The Xbox 360 is going to be a much cheaper option if you're trying to get a console, because I've seen them as low as $40 and $50. Some I've seen as low as $20. I've purchased some, but they didn't work, for $10. But don't go with those. Go for something around the $50-$60 mark, because then you're probably going to go get the Elite or above. If you want one with a larger hard drive, blah, 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 so on. Now, you got to remember, most of these games you will not be playing online anymore. If you get the Series X or Xbox One to play it, yeah, the Xbox One isn't, especially if you're getting the VCR, is not expensive at all. You're looking at probably $150 and less. I've seen some as low as $100. But again, I'm going to keep saying it depends on where you go. If you're buying them online, you're usually going to pay top dollar. eBay's hit or miss. I hate eBay. I've had more horror stories with eBay than anything else. So I'm sorry, I can't recommend eBay. I would say go to your local mom and pop game store, take a look, see what they have, maybe game conventions, stuff like that. Game conventions tend to be a little more on the pricey side just because they know you're there, unless they're trying to... That's a topic for a whole nother story. But be very careful when you go to conventions and you're trying to buy games. You're going to probably pay a little more. Mom and pop game shops are usually the best way to go, in my experience, my personal experience. So with that being said, I think if you want to collect for Xbox and Xbox 360 because they are cheap, the best way to do it would be get yourself an Xbox One or an Xbox Series X to play these games, because a lot of them are backwards compatible. Now, if you want to play on original hardware, just go with what I said previously, and that'll be your best bet. So it will cost you a lot less to collect for those systems. Again, like I said, you can do PS2, but PS2, it's got cheap ones, but it's got really expensive ones. And the GameCube is just woo. And then if you move to PS3, PS3 seems to be sitting in this weird limbo area where it's not too expensive, but then you're going to see some ones that you're like, why is that game $30? Why is that game $40? When you can get the Xbox 360 version for almost half the price. It's weird. It is really weird. So make sure you do your research before you decide to pick up which version if you are collecting for the PS3 and the 360. But with that being said, if you want to save the money and you want to build a collection, Xbox is a good way to go. And then you'll have a lot more games to play. If you're a Nintendo collector, like this guy here, the best way to collect is to have done it 20 years ago. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough collecting for Nintendo. I'm glad I have amassed the collection that I have, but if you guys have seen, I am selling off quite a bit. That isn't Nintendo. So I've got a couple bags sitting over there that I'm about to sell, probably going to take off today. And I've got some more on the shelf that I'm going to go through. Again, once my Poly Mega comes in, the Sega stuff is probably going and stuff like that. And I'm going to continue to downsize, because who knows what the future holds. I really enjoy collecting for the Switch, and I would just want more space for my Nintendo stuff. I really enjoy collecting for Nintendo. And it seems like my Xbox collection is just more and more digital. Never thought I'd say that, never thought I'd go in that direction, but hey, that's the way it is, and especially with Game Pass. I don't buy new games on the Xbox if they come to Game Pass. I am getting a certain few, like say RoboCop when that comes out, because it's a first-person shooter. I prefer my first-person shooters on Xbox. Star Wars Jedi Survivor I'm getting on Xbox because the save carries over, stuff like that. It depends on the game. I really go with exclusives. Well, let me rephrase that. Non-exclusives is what I meant to say on the PlayStation. And the Xbox is just, hey, if it's a non-exclusive comes to Game Pass, like say Monster Hunter Rise, even though I have it on the Switch, I wanted to play it on next gen. Came to Game Pass. Why would I bother getting it on PlayStation when it's on Game Pass? Situations like that. But I digress. I'm going off, and that's not what this video is about. But hey, little extra information is always good. Again, like I said, you can always get a number of decent games. This is only 4 that I decided to grab off the shelf to tell you that, hey, you have options. You have great ways to buy cheap games. Now, if you're looking at reselling them, you're not going to get much. But hey, that's the thing. If you're collecting inexpensive games, you're going to have an inexpensive resale. Makes sense? Sometimes it works out differently. I've bought games for the Switch, for example, but the Switch is a whole nother ballgame. Or let's say the 3DS. I bought games for $10-15. Nowadays, they're going for $300. I have games that have gone for, what was it? One of the Dragon Quest games for the 3DS. Got it on clearance. I think it was like $12. It's like $80-90 now. So you never know. Things happen. They could announce a re-release or something like this, or a resurgence in the series, and it could cause the game to spike. You never know. You always got weird things like that. But that hasn't seemed to be the case for the Xbox. The Xbox has seemed to stay pretty flat in terms of growth. Slightly gone up in value, but not too much. So if you want a place to start building a collection, a large collection, especially in times where things are a lot more expensive, that might be a best way to go. Might be a best bet. Yep. Xbox, OG Xbox, Xbox 360, and maybe even Xbox One, but that's take a look. Take a look yourself on those because, they're still technically releasing Xbox One games. So I decided to address consoles where, well, they're not coming out with anything else. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking around. And for all you new subscribers, thank you so much. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video, turn on notifications so you know when our new podcast comes out. New episodes. Next episode will be April 6th, featuring a huge guest, which is RGT85. I'm going to put up a post and stuff so you guys can make sure you know. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Like we always say, be legendary. Thanks again.